We are live here again at the Voice of College Football. Welcome into our Miami Talk here on a Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, here on our Miami channel. We get the Wholesome One standing by to talk Miami football. He's headed home. He just texted me, so be patient. Be patient. In the meantime, I will take your comments, your questions, your debate topics. Remind everyone that look at the ticker down below. Shop Amazon. Use the link in the description section that we provide, and you will help us grow the channel. Do that, you will help us grow the channel. Before anybody comments, the reason my earpiece is not tucked away and looking nice is because I don't have enough cord here. I am working remotely. I'm at my mom's house. Some of you know that. So I'm at my mom's house, don't have all my equipment here, and the earpiece is going to help us with the audio feedback. I hope everyone can hear me, and I hope this is going to cut down on what you can hear in the background and possible feedback. So I've got the earpiece working, which I would rather not do, but it's a short cord. It only stretches so long to make it to the laptop. Of course, you can contribute to the channel, this specific show as well. So hit the like button. You might as well do that right now before we get settled. Hit the like button, subscribe. Got to do that. If you're a college football fan of other teams, we've got 22 team channels, so subscribe to the other channels. Specifically, this is key for anyone that just wants to help us grow. Go to any of the channels, especially the ones that are close to 1,000. And right now that's Nebraska, which may have just hit 1,000 in the last couple hours. Oregon, that's around 950. We need to push those past 1,000. And help us do that. And then even if you don't want to get the content from those channels, once we get 100 to 200 subs past 1,000, go ahead and unsubscribe if you'd like to. That's fine. But we appreciate it. George was in the previous live stream today, the Ohio State Buckeyes live stream. And George scared me. George, I got to tell you, next time we've got a call-in show, you call in because you gave me a bit of a scare today, George, because you said you were just about to give up college football. You can't do that to us, George. Even if you're just joking, you can't do that to us. All right, let's see who's in the chat. Phil B. So Miami fans, you have allowed a Florida State guy, Phil, to be the first one to comment. This might be the first win for Florida State over Miami, not just on the football field in the last 3 years, but also here at the Voice of College Football. But for as amazing as some of our Florida State followers are, of course, Miami's got you. It seems to be outnumbered. Although when I post Florida State content, it does a fair share. All right, Mr. HD. Right there. Okay, we've got Phil B and Mr. HD going back and forth, arguing about cookouts. We know what that's all about. Good to see Ronan, of course. Well, Ronan, that's how it works in the recruiting game and in the college football trash talking game. You highlight your team's successes. You tend to ignore your rivals' successes. So, yes, it will be intriguing now that the war has been waged between Florida State Miami fans on Mr. Armella to see where he goes, one of the best offensive tackles in the country. Yes, we are still at Mama Rogers' house. We did an Ohio State live stream this afternoon, and I did it outside on the deck, and the sun was beating directly on me, which was fine. I'm okay. I'm one of those people that look forward to summer the entire winter, so I'm not one of those people that complains about the winter weather, and then when it gets too hot, complains about the hot weather. No. I want summer weather. Don't complain about it. So the sun was beating on me. That was fine, but it was also beating on my laptop, and it completely shut down our live stream. About 40 minutes into it, my laptop was red hot, shut it down, had to rush inside, get us cranked up again. Got 24 on the line. Hopefully that adds a 0 at the end of that number. I think we should be able to get to, we usually have about 120 in these Miami live streams. We've got, by the way, Cam Underwood coming up from State of the U at 7. Another Miami live stream coming up at 7 with Cam Underwood. So we typically have been topping out around 120, 130 on the Miami live streams. If all you guys would go out there and let people know that love college football, especially Miami, you would let them know that we're here talking Miami football, posting Miami content every day. We should go 4 digits strong by week 1. Why can't we do 1,000 on a live stream by week 1? I think we can do it. That's the challenge, 1,000 on a live stream. During college football playoff time, I broke 900 a couple times. I think we can do over 1,000 on the Miami live stream. If everybody would go out there and get people excited about our Miami content. You know, specifically Ronan. I think I'm talking to Ronan because if there's somebody who does nothing, absolutely nothing but sit on his rear end and doesn't do anything for this channel, for this product, it would be Ronan. Ronan, we need to light a fire under Ronan. He just doesn't support. You know we love you, Ronan. All right, the Rod Farva's here. So again, Miami talk here with the Wholesome One for the next hour. Cam Underwood State of the U at 7 Eastern. And then with the announcement just in the last couple hours of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee releasing that it's looking at a 12-team format. Stay tuned. Put on the notifications on the main channel. I will be going live at some point tonight. After I figure it out, we'll be going live at some point tonight to break down the college football playoff proposal of the 12 teams, what that would look like, what that would have looked like over the 7 previous college football playoff seasons. That would be intriguing to see that. So we're going to go through these 7 previous playoff seasons, look at the current proposal, populate that into the seasons to see how it would have looked, and then, of course, go forward. And you know my thoughts about bye weeks, about buys in college football. I'm not talking about during the regular season, but in a playoff tournament format. They don't work. They don't make sense. Elias, thank you so much. I appreciate your concern. We brought Mom home yesterday. She's doing fine. She's a bit wiped out, but she's doing fine after 5 days in the hospital. So she's doing fine. Thank you so much, Elias. I appreciate you asking. And God bless you as well, and everybody else here. I think the same thing, George. Basically, when it comes down to it, if you know of a business out there that could benefit from either sponsoring the Voice of College Football, our complete coverage, or a specific team, we've got 22 teams we're covering, specifically, team channels. And I think number 23 is coming soon. That if you own a business and you could benefit from the reach that we have. Also keep in mind that if you know somebody who owns a business, let's say they own a pizza parlor in Coral Gables. I always thought that a college gear, college memorabilia gear, because Think of it this way. If you're Coca-Cola, unless you really do some serious research, you don't know how many people drink Coke that watch our channel. But if you sell college sports gear, this is the perfect audience right here, is it not? So between the TV in the other room and the weed eating outside, I hope we're in good shape. I've got the earpiece in. That's not going to reduce your sound reduction, but it's at least going to cut down on the possible feedback. We are waiting on the wholesome one. I've told him many times, do not rush home from work. Take your time. We want you to be safe. We want you to be safe. So again, waiting on the wholesome one. Okay. Hey, Sue. Sue, you have been a faithful viewer. Thank you so much. Sue, a Buckeyes fan. Okay, looks like Miami fans are already in the mode of Ohio State fans in counting days since they lost the rivalry game. 1708. There it is, courtesy Kenneth Chambers. George. Mark, if they don't make the Florida Gators a perennial college football playoff team, I'm stop watching college football. George, please don't threaten us. I just couldn't take it today when I heard that threat that you were giving up on college football. And without further ado, there's the wholesome one. How you doing, man?
Mark, what's up, buddy? How you doing today?
I am doing just fine. I'm doing all right. Again, we're in our makeshift studio here at Mom's house. And before I have anybody else tell me, the reason you can see the earpiece and it's a bit disheveled is this is as long as the cord is. So I was just trying to cut down on some of the noise and some of the possible feedback. So we're not going to look the most fashionable today, but I think everybody can hang with us. Wholesome one, how we doing today?
Doing good, man. You rocking your Florida blue today or what?
Oh, I guess, huh?
Mark is rocking the Florida blue on the Miami channel today.
George is going to be happy with me if nobody else. Everybody else is going to hate me, but see, you know what Mom told me today, wholesome one, is that it brought out the blue in my eyes. That's all she knows. She knows nothing about Florida Gator colors, but the wholesome one picked up on that immediately. Okay, all right.
Absolutely. Can you hear me good? I got somebody in the chat that said need some volume.
Uh-oh. So maybe that's...
We can hear each other good. Can everybody hear me in the chat?
I wonder if let's okay, what are we hearing?
Well, I can hear me fine.
Ronan's got you because he responded to what you had to say. Is there anybody here who is saying that they can't hear the wholesome one? Because I can hear him, but I got the earpiece in. I would think we're in good shape, right? Everybody confirm?
But his volume is a little lower. Oh, okay. I'll speak loud then.
Okay,
How about that?
Okay. I would be further away from my laptop, but I am like dragged down by like a 2-foot line here. So, all right, let's get to Falconer X. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate that, Falconer X. Always contributing, always supporting us. Appreciate that. Now we'll get started with the news of the day. Of course, we've got a playoff system that we can talk about, but let's talk specifically Canes. Big weekend last weekend, another big weekend coming up this weekend. I typically do a pretty exhaustive search of what's going on. Wasn't able to do that today. Is there anything that's on your mind?
Mark, you're going to have so many of not only South Florida's finest, but we're going to have some of those big name young men returning again. The beautiful part about what's been happening down there is not just the barbecue, but unofficial and official visits over the last last weekend, now this weekend, and going into the next weekend after, we've had some of the best talent in all of the southeastern region of America come down to Coral Gables and really spend time with our head coach, spend time with our staff, and spend time with a couple of our players. So one of the biggest things about being in the eventual playoff conversation we're going to have later, which I'm still trying to find all the information about this, so we'll talk about it, because when I woke up, I saw it on Twitter, but I didn't get any like ESPN verification notifications on this one. So I guess you'll be able to break it down to me a lot better. But all the big names people can think about, Earl Little Jr. and Shamar Stewart, and you're also going to have the safety from Louisiana, name excluded, is popping off my head right now. The big time defensive back. Why am I going to blank? I hate when this happens. The comment section to help me. But anyhow, it's going to be some really big names there. And I'm happy, Mark, because for the longest, I've had to come on here and try to throw water on the fire and calm everyone down about the fact that Miami only had one commit. Now Miami only has two commits in the class. Cam has also spoken about he wanted at least one commit every single week of June. He wanted us to go in. Kamari Rogers, thank you, Ronan Jones. Thank you. I appreciate it. Kamari Rogers. So he wanted us to definitely go into July with at least 4 or 5 commits and get the ball rolling. And we're in pursuit. But, Mark, what a good feeling it is to be able to have Miami in the top 5, some of the biggest names in college football. Miami to make a lot of those top 10s, because for a while there, Mark, you can really tell when a team is kind of far out of it, when they don't even make the cutoff point for a lot of these young men. Okay, when they make their top 10, top 15, top 5, top 3, you really start to notice you've been seeing some of the same names for the last decade. Bama, Georgia, Clemson. Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma. Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas. Like, you've been seeing some of the big, and where they are geographically also helps. Now you're going to add Texas A&M to that and really take Texas out until proven otherwise. But you got like a big 6 in recruiting right now of Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. Now, Miami isn't even in the same census as a lot of those teams that I just reeled off to you. But for some of these big name recruits and their families, Miami is worthy enough to make their top 10. And what we're doing when they come down and meet us and meet our staff and meet our players and get around our environment, it also solidifies us to make that top 10. And hopefully, now when we start playing football games in the fall, now it's not just about the talk. It's not about what we could do for you. It's not about the scenery. It's not about being 15 minutes away from South Beach. It's not about having a great campus. It's not about the chain and the rings and the uniforms. It's about what we're doing on the football field. We're doing the talk to the mom and dads right now about what we can do for your young man, your son, what we can do to build him as a person. But coming up here real soon, in about 6 to 8 to 12 weeks, it's going to be about what we can do for him on this football field to make sure that he can take care of you and his children for the rest of their life. And that's what we got to start pulling together for the University of Miami.
I'd like to remind everyone that if you leave your comments, your questions, your debate topics there in the live chat, we will pick those up, get right those to those. This is the best time of the year to get your questions and your comments in before we get loaded down on stuff that we're going to tear through for an hour. So you can produce the show here. Got a super chat coming in from King Kane 305. H1H, who do you think are the next few recruits to commit?
Man, King Kane, just to be honest with you, dog, I'm not one of those people that's going to come up here and blow smoke up people's behinds. I honestly don't know. And that's a good thing, because when we're still in the building process of changing the minds of people in South Florida about how we take football, a commit means something. But when we're going out there and giving you a return on your early investment with what we do as far as wins and losses and the context of our play out there and the way our content looks when we get on that football field, besides defensive end, besides safety, okay? When Julian Armella and his parents can sit down and look at the offensive line at the University of Miami, and they're out there playing. And Zion Nelson turns out to be, I don't know if he's still a top 10 pick, but he turns out to be a very valuable offensive lineman. Navon Donaldson has completely reshaped his body and turned out to be a draftable football player going in the third or fourth round. Okay. Corey Gaynor is in the Remington conversation. Zion Nelson is in the Outland conversation. Those type of things, a return on your early investment. Like I just said before, Mark, we've been doing talking for the longest. And as far as how a program looks, Miami is the best program on paper we've been since Butch Davis has left. But I felt like this when Mark Richt took over going into 2017. I felt like this after the 2013 season. We went 9-4 without Golden. So what is going to make any of those things really different? It's about the product we put on that football come September 4th all the way through the end of December. That's where winning the recruiting battles is really going to matter. Because, Mark, like I just said, there'll be names, and especially geographically. If you're from the state of Florida, there's a sense of like or respect for Miami because you're from here. But just like with Tallahassee, you see Tallahassee right now is doing good in recruiting. Remember, they were on here talking all that smack. They had their very first camp, and they've had 4 decommits since the camp. Because when people feel when you're blowing smoke up there behind, when they walk the facilities and say, oh, these are the same facilities as at Florida and Miami. What's the difference? The product on the freaking football field, the quality of coaching, the quality of strength and conditioning, the camaraderie with the players. And these young men and their parents aren't dumb. Okay, especially the high rank when they've been having, people kiss their behind for years. You better have some product behind that. Okay, so like I said, I don't know who our next commits will be. I know the young man that committed was from class of 2023. He's like an athlete, wide receiver, defensive back type. But I'm sorry I can't answer your question, man. There may be a long list of people that I could rattle off to you, man. But I honestly just want to see us continue to build the program and build rapport with the folks in Miami and our recruits and their parents. And then I'll be able to answer that question a little closer to training camp time.
And I'm just going to bring this up because this is reality. And I'm not saying this to criticize our viewership in any such way, because I rarely get criticized on this. But every so often, somebody will be a little harsh or critical about somebody, me in particular, or one of my guests not being able to answer a question. But let's understand, when we are here answering your questions, we're out on a limb. We are putting ourselves out there to basically be coaches, to be general managers, to be historians, to be, tacticians, to be, in this case, the question that was just posed to the Wholesome One, that's like an insider kind of question. And again, the Wholesome One, he could talk for the next 3 to 5 minutes, and 99% of you would have been satisfied with his answer if he wanted to just make stuff up.
Oh, you just won the softball national championship.
Oh, okay. Just ended, huh?
Listen, I was an OU fan for the last 3 days. You know who they were playing, Mark?
Who they were playing? Oh, they were playing Florida State. The only reason I know that is because we had our Florida State guys on last night. Otherwise, I would have had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say you've been an OU fan, and I was just going to ask why, but
it's a great.
I got my answer. I got my answer. Okay, we got some good questions coming in. I will, of course, go to the super chats first. Chuck C., where you been? It's been a while, but we appreciate you being here as always. Thank you so much for the contribution. Hey, fellas, do we have some definitive numbers for recruiting 22-23, meaning the 23 class, after last year's and this year's transfers taking up spots, the new normal? So you're looking for how big these classes should be in 22 and 23. Okay, I'm not going to be able to come anywhere close to answering that question. I have no idea. I don't track those things.
Okay, so what happens, Mark, is he's talking about us counting forward, us as far as the recruit number to transfer portal number if that's what
Sure.
I'm getting for that.
Yeah.
As far as asking about how many transfers we take.
Yeah, I know what he's asking. I just had no idea.
Okay, we've only counted one forward. Only one, and that was Brown, the running back who was the Tennessee. He got out of his LOI, and then he was able to now commit and sign with Miami, who is currently on campus right now. He was able to get into University of Miami, so that's big time. All right, so we're now going to be, for the first time, able to get to that 85 scholarship mark since 2011-ish. It's always been like kind of the way that we've been playing with our numbers. Is as far as people leave early and then taking more, it's been kind of iffy. But to be honest with you, as far as how Coach Diaz is going to handle that, I don't know per se, but I do know it will be the first year that we'll be able to hit that 85 scholarship mark under the 2022 recruiting class. I also think that we'll be taking 24 because we've counted one forward. So that's why our staff has been very particular about who they're allowed to commit, who we're going after, things of that nature, because there have been people who have wanted to commit. It's just that simple. And Coach Diaz has basically said, no, I want you to know that when you take this commitment, we want you basically a part of the roster. So go do your visits. Go sit. That's the beautiful part, Mark. We have a head coach that, of course, if you would have talked to me last year, we were saying that our coach doesn't want you to do that. If you commit, then you don't take your visits, which is also what I'm saying now. But he wants you to go see everything else. You've been cooped up in the house. You haven't been able to go out. We want to see you, but we want to make sure that you're going to make the right decision committing to us as we make the right decision committing to you. So if you want to go see Oklahoma, you want to go see UF, you want to go see Georgia and what they bring to the table, have a good time. Let us know that you made it home safe. And to me, that shows a sense of confidence, number one, but it also shows the respect that we have for these young men and their experience as recruits for the last year. Okay, as much as people talk about the seniors were effective for class of 2021, those juniors were definitely messed up even further because a lot of the development happens from sophomore to junior, junior to senior. Well, a lot of them didn't even have full seasons as rising juniors. So now that they're going into their senior season as rising seniors, a lot of these coaches are for the first time going to get a chance to see them in practice, going to get a chance to see them running drills. And did you spend your time eating Little Debbie cakes and mom's cooking, or were you in there finding a way to get a Planet Fitness membership, to get a Bowls gym or whatever, a Gold gym? Were you out there running and trying to find any place that you can go to the park and go get some drills in? Did you take a couple players with you to go do that type of stuff? These are the questions that's happening when we sit down. And of course, like I always tell people, when you know somebody's working out, you could just tell. You don't have to ask, hey man, you've been hitting the weights? They walk in the door and you go, oh, okay. And the inverse happens too. When they haven't been eating right, you don't have to ask, what's going on with your diet? They walk in and you just be like, huh, okay, you what's been going on here? And that's the prioritizing conversation that's going on.
My sister brought me some homemade spaghetti and some chocolate chip cookies, homemade chocolate chip cookies yesterday. So good for me. So I may not be looking at my best, but that's all right. I don't have to play college football. All right, we got a couple people asking about these Georgia decommits. I don't know if you had a chance to look at these guys. I posted a video.
Bear Alexander, let's go.
Okay, yeah.
Man. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I caught up on these guys. Posted a video on the SEC channel. Yeah, you got Bear Alexander from Texas boy. We got a Georgia boy in Dion Smoke Bowie. He's an athlete, and I read up on the 247 scouting report on him. Scouts are pretty much say he could play at this level, offense or defense. He's talented, top 100 player. Alexander's like a top 25 or 30 player in the nation. So you're obviously excited about Bear.
Yeah. So here's my thing, Mark. We have been struggling with being able to get those recruits and bring in those caliber of guys. That's 6'3", 6'4", ready-made, 320 pounds, man. Long arms. They've been playing in the trenches. It's not a conversion. It's not a switch. It's not a DN going to linebacker. It's not a linebacker that's too big that got to go to DN. It's not a big DN that has to go to defensive tackle. We're talking about a big, contra-strong defensive tackle. Now, I get excited about that because that is the position that I played, but we also have to do our thing to bring a guy like that in. Okay, Texas A&M is really diving in. You know, they are diving in to what to bringing him on. He decommitted from Georgia and then made an official visit to the University of Miami within 5 minutes. So that means that we have a chance. Okay, we have a chance. Now, I keep telling people. I remember talking on here over a year ago, where I said the fact that a lot of the big-time recruits are looking at Navon Donaldson. A lot of the big-time recruits are looking at Nesta Silvera, especially the big men locally who are explaining, who are basically looking like, I can go to Bama and be a part of their factory and become great, or I can come here and really help build something. But what has Miami done with those young men who took that choice? That's been the question. Have they done well by them? Or are they now at the park 4 years after and they spent a couple months in the NFL going undrafted? Now they at the park talking about they wish they would have went to UF. You know, that's where our issues have been. That's where our issues have been. Because we have to have those players when they come in, especially on the fronts, where a lot of South Florida recruiting, we don't get, we might get a 6'3" guy. You look at Trevor Darling. He was a 6'3", 310-pound left tackle out of Miami Central. He gets here and he's a guard. He made the Saints rookie training camp as a center. Okay, but then you go up into Georgia, you go up into Louisiana, you go up in Texas, their left tackles are 6'5", 310, 6'6", 310. That's where the conversation really takes a turn. So when we do get a Casey McDermott, when we do get a Trevor Darling, when we do get a Navon Donaldson, on the defensive side, when we do get a nasty Nesta Silvera and a Marcus Forston, we cannot make them fall off. They have to be something. Okay, they have to be something, and that's what will help us with a Bear Alexander is, we're going to get a nice visit. He's probably going to sit down and talk to our coaches, and they're going to tell him what he wants to hear, but also what he needs to hear. But what will help us get him to put pen to paper to sign to Miami would be if we go out there and you have Nasty Nesta have a really big season. Have a John Ford and a Jordan Miller who are more like his. Jordan Miller is very similar to his body type. Okay, what do we do to Jordan Miller's strength and conditioning wise? Did we get that baby fat off of him? Yes, we did. Has he started to make some plays? Yes, he has. Did he take a step back last year? Yes. But hopefully he takes a bigger step this year as far as the strength and conditioning and not a production on the field with statistics. So I'm very, very excited with a guy like Bear Alexander, man. That's big time.
Yeah, I've got to think, other than Leonard Taylor, that it's been forever since Miami recruited and signed a guy of that caliber that's a top 5 to 10 at his position, top 25 player in the nation, right, regardless of position. That's way up there. All right, I want to encourage everyone to hit the like button. So before you get settled, get comfortable, just check out everything that the Wholesome One has to say and, soak it all in. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the Wholesome One's channel. Head on over there as soon as you get done here. Check out what he's got posted recently. HOLSUM, #1. I think you're all familiar with him by now. If you're not, again, you really need to check out the channel. And then, of course, you can contribute right here on the Super Chat if you have. So thank you so much for that. Falconer X, King Kane, Chuck C, thank you for that. You can also go directly to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. Bypass the YouTube Just make sure that if you want to contribute directly to Miami and what we do here with the Wholesome One, that you indicate that. All right. And also, man, we could just really blow up the numbers, I think. If everybody in here would think, okay, who else do I know that loves the Canes? And then see all the other college football fan bases that are in here. Just think about who loves college football that you know, your family, your friends, people that you know on social media. Just let them know that we're here every Thursday talking to the Wholesome One. All right. So 904 Hurricane is asking whether there's a restriction on when you can or can't transfer. Based on what I know, that restriction is July 1st. Transfers need to be made by July 1st to be eligible for the next season. Now, if we're talking about within a conference, those rules are breaking down as we speak. So it was just a couple of years ago that if you transferred within your conference, you were sitting. Then there would be some hardship cases and some negotiations and that sort of thing. But now I know that the SEC has basically approved transfers within, you used to had to have the approval of the team that was losing the player and had to have the approval of the conference. Now the SEC has said, we're going to let players transfer within the conference. I know the Mountain West has just said in the last month, we're going to allow the same thing. No holds barred, just let everyone transfer within the conference. There's an issue at Oklahoma where Lincoln Riley lost a quarterback to TCU, his backup quarterback, like a third-string quarterback, and he's kind of fighting that. So there's still the jury's out in the Big 12 as to whether they're going to let that go. But the question goes on to say, Wholesome One, basically, what position needs do you think most need to be addressed in the transfer portal if Miami's able to do anything there?
I do see a couple positions where we could take a transfer. I think the staff is still waiting to see what's going to happen with the linebackers. They're just big question mark there. We got a whole bunch of guys on the roster, but no one's really like standing out at all. They're just hanging. We just added Keontre Smith, moving from striker over to linebacker because we moved Amari Carter from safety down to striker. So now you're going to have Chase Smith, Gilbert Frierson, and Amari Carter at striker. And at the weak side linebacker, you're going to have Keontre Smith, Avery Huff, and Wayman Steed. So that's where the conversation is happening at weak side linebacker. I think everyone in the fan base wants to see someone else. I spent a lot of time rewatching last year, and I don't necessarily think B.J. Jennings is the worst. He's just not a 2021 style of linebacker. He's a downhill thumper. His tackling can be a little better, but he's just not a sideline guy. He'll catch you right off a stretch in the C gap. He'll catch you in between the guards and the A gap, blast to people. But as far as being able to make it from the middle linebacker position, give ground to gain ground, and be able to make it out there to the hash mark or beat you to the numbers, that's not the type of guy that a B.J. Jennings is. So at Miami, the biggest thing about our style of play has always been speed. Okay, but now you have to be a little bit more balanced. You need the strength, you need the speed, and you need the size. That's just how you win in today's football. Okay, that's just how it is. I think a lot of people want to see that. I think wide receiver was a big question mark too. I don't understand it, Mark. I just don't. They're here. Okay, at the end of the day, people come on and they beg for attention. It's like a baby crying in the room, man. If you ignore them, you keep doing your thing, eventually they're gonna stop. But if you keep acknowledging them and what's wrong? They're gonna make a scene out of it. This is our channel. It's not their time. It's not their channel. They go on at some other time. Okay.
I'm smirking because I knew what your response was going to be. Number one, which is great. Number two, that you understand that the Miami people come on the Florida State show too, so it goes both ways.
Oh, I wouldn't know, Mark. I tell you this, I love you, man, but you would never get a view out of me on that show. That's just me.
Sure.
I don't support them. I don't. Anything about them, I just don't. Like I said, I just said Puma Sooner. Like, hey, dog, they don't mean nothing to me, bro. Nothing. Anyhow, back to the Miami conversation. And Mark, can I ask you something?
Of course.
If a team put up 50 points on me, do you think I would be worried about talking about them?
If a team put 52 points on my team, you would definitely not hear 90% of what we see in the chat about stupid things that don't matter and trying to misconstrue numbers and stats to make it look different or make the situation.
Bro, Mark, these people flip all type of stuff. Oh, look, you guys wear chains and we got Thorpe Awards. Since when? Please tell me. So the last time you won a bowl game, we were in a BCS national championship. When's the last time y'all been to a bowl game? All right. Y'all have been through 2 coaches in 3 years. What are we even talking about? That's why you don't acknowledge those people. It's just that simple. Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people. Nick Saban. Just that simple. Anyhow, back to real conversation about a real team. Okay. Yeah, we got problems, and I think a big thing about it, Mark, is it's what the fans want as opposed to what's really going to happen. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. We can have all the comments in the world we want about what a fan wants, okay? And even some pretend insiders who claim to know what's going on inside of that building. It's just, man, we don't know, okay? We don't know. A lot of the coaching, a lot of development, a lot of position changing is happening at Miami right now. Just like I said, with Amari Carter coming down to the line of scrimmage. It didn't take a coach to be able to identify this young man would be way better if we put him close to the LOS. It's just that simple. Okay. So the coaches came in. We get a real linebacker coach. We get a real defensive back coach. And he walks in and he said, that dude ain't no DB. That dude is not a safety. That dude's a linebacker. Put him close to the line of scrimmage. Call it a striker, call it whatever you want, but he's not a safety. Get him out of the room. It's just that simple. Okay. Similar situation happened when we got a different offensive line coach. And we made the switch from Trevor Darling playing guard and Casey McDermott playing left tackle to the switch. Trevor Darling was at left tackle and McDermott went in at guard. Why? Because one's 6'3", 310 pounds, and you had him at guard, and the other guy is 6'6", 325. And he was playing left tackle with slow feet. You get what I'm saying? You up the ante of the people who are evaluating it, and things change. That's just that simple.
We're here with the Wholesome One every Thursday night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Once in a while, we got to switch the schedule. So what you need to do is subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. You can pretty much bank Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. It's always a good time with the Wholesome One. He's been breaking it down for us for a long, long time. We always appreciate him taking time out of his busy schedule. But again, sometimes we've got to switch it up. So hit that bell for the notifications to know when we're going live. Keep in mind that, as you can see on the ticker below, that if you shop Amazon, you use the link that we provide in the description section, and your shopping experience is exactly what it is otherwise. So I don't know why you wouldn't just help us build the channel, grow the channel by using the link right there.
Appreciate you, JMS, too, boys. Appreciate you. Thank you for the love. Yeah, Mark, get this guy Justin off the screen.
We got, give me a second, because we got a super chat coming in from Mike Williams. Thank you so much for that, Mike. We always appreciate you being here. Another familiar face and familiar name. Thank you, Mike, for your contribution.
So, Mark, I have another question for you. I want to
Absolutely.
time, but I was having this debate, and I know we like to have when I'm on. I love to have college football conversations with you also, and including and sometimes excluding the Miami Hurricanes. I just like to have college football talk. So, you talk about recruiting and these facilities. Do you think, in your time of studying college football, your time of following recruiting, through all these people who come on your channel and talk, whether it's the Oregon guys, the USC gals and girls, the Tallahassee people, the Gator people, you had an SEC thing going at one time. Do you think that the bells and whistles, the facilities and the cameras and the crazy pictures when you come in and lighting, do you think all of that really matters in the grand scheme of things? Or do you believe that you just need a certain level of those things, but you don't have to have the greatest facilities, and it matters more about on the football field? Where is your mind as far as from looking at it from afar, and some places who have great facilities, who land these recruits, but those guys end up sucking, as opposed to some people who have above average facilities, but they're producing NFL guys. What do you think?
There was a phrase as you were crafting that question. There was a phrase that you made in there, and now I lost track of exactly how you phrased it. But basically, do you have what you need? So this is how I see it. That if a player is reviewing it, and everybody's different, but we're talking about the majority. The majority of the players that want to win, they want to excel at a high level. They want to show off for NFL scouts and have that opportunity, not just to show off for NFL scouts, but be given the coaching and development and the input into their skill level that's going to elevate their play, that they can put themselves in a position to play on Sundays, that are going to build nice, good relationships with the coaches where they feel like, okay, this guy has my back. I can trust him. All those things. Okay, when it comes to the facilities, at some point, it became this arms race. It became this arms race. Okay, our rival spent $80 million. We're going to spend $100 million, and we're going to put in gold toilets. It became this ridiculous arms race of who can have a more impressive facility with locker rooms that shine and glow and neon lights and slides if I want to take a poke at Clemson and just everything. I think once football facilities were brought to a level that the player felt comfortable that football is important here, and this is nice. This is a nice place to come to, quote unquote, work every day. It's almost like I just got done with a 19-year career at ESPN. And ESPN put millions and millions of dollars into buildings, not just for the function of the building, but to make it look nice, and millions of dollars into landscaping and fancy cafeterias and everything, not so much to cater to the employee who already earned a paycheck there and was working there, but to bring in better talent and draw that talent from elsewhere. So my bottom line on this, Wholesome One, is yes, there's a bar somewhere, but that bar is not this ridiculous, crazy, everything needs to be lined in gold. And I think that if the player sees that there's something wrong, like this facility, they don't have sufficient workout space or rooms, or they only have a 60-yard practice field like we've heard at a number of places. Yeah, going back. Things that are functional, things that matter. And they want to make sure that it's clean and it's relatively new. I don't think that they get too wowed. I think that it might fascinate them, and it might, we all get allured by the shining objects temporarily, but when they're really sitting down with their family making the decision a month later after the visit, sure, it may have been really cool for that day to be like, oh wow, this locker room is like crazy, ridiculously pretty. But hey, the other one's really nice and it does the job. And you know what? I enjoy that coaching staff a lot more.
I asked this question, Mark, because I think that it has to be a balance. Okay, it can't be completely trash. You know what I'm saying? Like for the longest, the administration at the University of Miami, I can speak about at home. They use the excuse that you're going to be practicing against the best players. You're going to have some really good coaches. You're going to be in some big time games at least once a month at the University of Miami. The facilities were atrocious. Al Golden was, Mark, our players used to get taped on the floor. They didn't have a training table for the player to sit on to get their fingers and ankles taped. That's how bad it was in the early 2010s. Like that doesn't even make sense. Okay, Al Golden was using that as we didn't have a training table before I got here. Now we got a training table. Now we're laying the blueprint for an indoor practice facility. Mark, Kansas had stuff like that in 2007, 2008. Okay, so that's why I bring it up, because it does hit home at the fact that we were not doing things to the level. We just weren't. We just weren't doing things to the proper level at UM. But now we are. Now we're pulling those things together. You got some people on here talking trash about the fact that our locker rooms are made out of wood, and we're poor because they're wood locker rooms. Lockers. What does that have to? What? So, because at Texas A&M, you get your name in there, you got the picture on there, you got your picture of your moms, you can upload different pictures and have that stuff flowing while you're in there. It's AC ventilated in the locker. You sit down and it weighs you, it massages your toes, gives you a back rub. What does that matter about football, man? That's a little overboard, if you ask me. Is it cool? If you got all money to do that type of crap, do it. But if I had to pick between joining a really good football program or bells and whistles, I'm going to lean to a really good football program, but I also understand that we cannot have trash facilities and then expect the best of the best to come through. We do not have trash facilities. Is it number one? Is it state of the art? No, but it's comparable to some of the top 15 programs in college football right now. That's good. Okay.
Anybody who takes their job seriously, and for this, we're going to call it a job, just for the sake of the discussion. Anybody who takes their job seriously wants to have the tools that they need to perform at their very best. The tools don't have to be gold-plated, but the tools have to be, comparable, to use your term. It makes a whole lot of sense, to the competition, not to feel like, well, the competition has all these advantages that we don't have. I'm an accountant, and every pen they give me is busted, and my computer locks up constantly, and my chair's wobbling, and I'm distracted doing my job as an accountant every second because nothing works. Yeah, it doesn't all have to be perfect, and I don't have to always have the 2021 version of everything, but it just has to be clean and work and be functional and be nice.
Absolutely.
And it make me feel good about coming to work and look around and be like, this is a pleasant, nice place to be.
Absolutely. I even look at people. There's so many things that Miami gets flack for, which I find is weird, but whatever. We don't have an on-campus stadium. Okay, cool. What does that really mean in the grand scheme of things? We play at a very nice stadium, one of the best. That stadium
Sure.
has held Super Bowls. Like not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. At least once or twice every decade, they go to Miami for the Super Bowl.
Sure.
We're one of the only other places besides Hawaii that held the Pro Bowl. Okay. Now, we'll always be remembered for the one reigning Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there. I do understand that aspect of things, but sure. But you look at what Miami can give you. Miami can give you a great, hey, drop the hashtag live squad, man. I feels good to see that. appreciate you, Anderson by Keys, good friend of mine. When he answers the phone, anyway. Anyhow, yeah, I get it. We won't be able to give you the same. UCLA has home games at the Rose Bowl. You think they want to build a home stadium when they have the Rose Bowl they can go play football in? Really? Yeah, we're not Georgia. We're not Texas. We're not Auburn. We're not even Clemson. That's cool. But the simple fact that we play in such a big venue, and I understand Miami fans don't sell out every home game. That's cool. Nebraska sells out every home game. And when have they been relevant?
Well, that was the point I was going to make, Wholesome One. I might be wrong. I might be wrong on this, but I'm guessing that doesn't really matter to the players that you're recruiting that there's a home stadium, because they can go play, as you just mentioned, they're going to play in an NFL stadium where there have been Super Bowls played. So I think that might even be a positive or advantage for the players you're recruiting. But a lot of people complain about it because it is difficult for the student body to get to the games.
Right. Well, and I understand that, but the University of Miami buses them. You know, we have 300, 400 some odd tickets dedicated to Miami Hurricane students who can come, and they all hop on a bus and travel behind the team to the game. Like, you know, it's just, we found a way. That's our thing. All right. But there's certain things that you look at a UCF, one of the best home field advantages that no one really talks about unless you catch them on a Friday night game when your team isn't playing because your team plays on a Saturday. Yeah, they sit like maybe, 18K in their stadium. But when it's rocking and it's packed, it's very nice. Miami, look at the Notre Dame game. You look at the Vatech game. Tallahassee, when they come to town, because it's a big rivalry game. You can't tell me that Mark, you're an Ohio State guy, and you watch that Notre Dame game, and you're like, wow, okay, that they can have a home field advantage. Look to it, especially when the program is doing right. Because I think when you're building a great program of great young men, really good football, winning games, you're developing good coaches and first rounders, all that other stuff is going to come. Okay. I would take the first before the latter. All right. I would take us being a great football program, pushing out first rounders, building really good coaches to go on and take defensive coordinator and head coaching positions, as opposed to have a great football facility, a great home stadium that's packed every week, and we're going 4-8. Okay. It's just that simple. I'm sorry, Nebraska, but you're the brunt of the joke because it's true. Sold out.
Well, they're the classic example of what you're talking about right there. They are the example right now. And some of that is actually to their credit, not on the field, but as a student body and a campus and a community that supports the program regardless of the record.
Correct.
So it's a negative that they haven't been relevant. They played for 2 Big 12 championships before they left. So depending on your term relevance. So they really haven't been relevant in any way, shape, or form for at least 12 or 13 years. And they've been under 500. They haven't gone to a bowl game in going on 5 years, even to a bowl game. But to the credit of the community, they still love Nebraska football and pack it out for that product. But,
and as they should. I think that would be a great thing. A lot of people don't look at it like this, but the illustrious Miami Northwestern down here in the city of Miami, right? They are a very prideful high school, very, very prideful. Okay, early in the 60s and early 70s, they were one of the only black high schools where people of non-white descent were allowed to go to high school at all. Okay, so it's a very prideful them in Booker T. Washington. All right, and then Booker T became a middle school and then came back to being a high school. But Booker T Tornadoes and Miami Northwestern Bulls and the Jackson Generals, those were they were the 3 high schools that allowed black students back then. Okay. So they're very prideful. It doesn't matter if it's a track and field meet. They don't care if it's basketball, if it's diving. They are going to be there and they're going to support the young people who are out there wearing their colors and wearing their uniforms. So I definitely have a respect for people who love and show support to the team that they love, and sometimes are alumni, especially at a team like a Nebraska or an Iowa. If you had the grades and you're from there, you're probably going to just get in, because they really like being able to have those homegrown people be alumni of their local college, especially the big college. So I get it. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, Mark, you got to be able to put a great product on the football field. Mark, you could be somebody that comes in and changes the program and really build some good and bring the graduation rate up and have people achieve degrees and have people grow as human beings. But you will be fired if you're not out there winning football games. Because to the people that this matters, it's about wins and losses. It's not about how you treat them. It's not about helping people build relationships spiritually, physically, mentally. They don't care. Are you winning games? Now, to those of us who are close to the program, those of us who are close to the young men and follow recruiting, we want to see them grow as people. Of course, we want to win football games too. But at the end of the day, these coaches won't have their jobs if they are not out there winning games. Just that simple. Mark, you went out, buddy.
Just trying to cut down on the noise there. Appreciate it. I love the comment coming in from 3 kids, dad there, with basically letting people know. Most of you missed some of the live stream. So as soon as the video posts, be part of the rewatch squad at the same time, because you can head on back and catch what you missed. So appreciate everybody being here. And as typically is the case, we got the most people on here at the end of the show.
What you got? You got some people coming on after me? Got another one lined up?
Not till 7 p.
I can give you another 30 minutes if you're willing.
I would love to, depending on what's going on here elsewhere at the house. I don't know, but what you got for me? Anything?
I was gonna ask you about the playoff situation. Can you explain to me what's going on with this?
Yep.
Is it official? Is it like what's going on here?
Okay. So during our conversation here, as soon as we get into it, I'm going to pull up the ESPN article just to make sure I got this straight, because what was announced a couple months ago is that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee had devised a subcommittee that was going to review how the playoff was working, how it could work better. They were going to put together different models of 6 teams, 8 teams, 10, 12, 14, 16. They were going to look at all those different formats. They had, get this wholesome one, 63 different proposals that they were going to go through. And then they were going to come back and let us know, which ones they were considering. So then it was just announced a couple days ago that within the next week, and it just came out like an hour or two ago, that there was going to be a proposal that they were definitely going to be zeroed in on.
Uh-oh.
That was released just an hour or two ago. Let me set up the rough draft of it, and then I'm going to pull up the article to answer any questions that people might have on specifics. So this is how I understand it. 12 teams, 5 conference champions, plus... No, let me rephrase this, because I don't think it's gonna matter, but they phrased it not necessarily as 5 Power 5 conference champions plus 1 group of 5 conference champion, but whoever they consider to be the 6 best champions of conferences. So they could have 2 group of 5s and leave out a Power 5. They could like skip the Pac-12 and have an American Conference and a Mountain West champion. So the 6 top conference champions make it automatically. You have to win a conference to receive a bye. So if you do the math on the 12 teams, you're going to have 4 byes.
Right.
So you
Oh, I
got
know
4
somebody
buys.
that isn't gonna like that. I don't mind the buy. If you earn it, you earn it. But go ahead.
So it states right in the article that if this proposal goes through, Notre Dame is not eligible to get a bye. They cannot get a bye. They can go undefeated. They'll not get a bye because they will not be a conference champion.
Yes. God, I can't use the 4-letter word I want to say about
Well,
this. Woo!
you can say damn if you want.
Mark, I'm gonna tell you this much right here.
Sure.
Those 2 initials really get under my skin. Notre Dame, and there's a team in Grand Forks who has those same initials, even though they have a U in front of their ND.
Sure.
But that ND, thumbs down for me. I mean, they've been catered to for way too long, Mark. I mean, I saw a proposal template that had like Alabama, whoever Clemson beat by 50 in the ACC championship game, the SEC loser, an overrated Notre Dame, NDSU, James Madison. Like this dude was just like going ham, and it was like pretty hilarious how he lined it up. But when he was like an overrated Notre Dame, that was hilarious, man. Because people bend over backwards for them, but that's neither here nor there. Go ahead, what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm going to make sure we don't miss any key points on this. So this committee is going to meet next week in Chicago, and they're looking at this 12-team format. 6 conference champions from the highest ranked conferences. So most likely that's going to be the Power 5, and that's going to be what's been the American Conference most times, but we'll see how it plays out. But they're not making a distinction like to say always the 5 power conference champions and then somebody else. So the 6 top conference champions. There is no limit on the number of participants from any one conference.
Oh, you know what that means.
we do. There's a conference that's got 3 letters starting with S and ending with C that could be in pretty good shape.
And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be opposed. I mean, you look at a team like Texas A&M; they were just as good as almost any team in the playoffs.
Sure.
Towards the end of last season, so I mean they're the best. So you can't really argue with them. That's why I don't get angry. You got 2 SEC teams, but then an overrated Notre Dame gets in there, and then they get shellacked. Okay, they don't deserve to be there. Stop putting them in. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The 4 highest ranked conference champions, and I'll get to this because this is where I've got a big issue. The 4 highest ranked conference champions get the seeds 1 through 4, and they receive a first round bye. Teams 5 through 12 would play each other. So 5, 12, 6, 11, 10, 10, or 7, 10. It looks like an NCAA basketball bracket would play each other in the first round in the home field of the higher ranked team. So we've got home games first round.
Hey, I like that.
I like that too. Love that. Love that. The quarterfinals, semifinals played in bowl games, national championship game as it stands right now.
Oh, I can hear the written in excuses already. We already had to play at Tennessee. I got to go back to Tennessee. Yep. Beat them again. Beat them again. I'm not saying Tennessee ever be that good again, but you never know, man. That's a place with the bells and whistles and local talent. If they could pull it, oh my God, they could be a problem. They could be a problem.
And again, under this proposal, Notre Dame and other independents would not be eligible for a bye because they cannot win a conference title.
They shouldn't be eligible to be in it, Mark. Listen, in order for them to make the playoffs, they have to join the Big Ten Conference or the ACC. They got to join a conference. Make them join a conference. No one school should be able to strong arm the entire college football like that. Now listen, I don't talk about people's religion, so that's not where I'm going with it. I'm just saying at all, any program, I don't care if it was Miami who was able to, we should not be able to do that. We eventually were independent, and they were like, hey, we need y'all. We joined the Big East. Hey, we need y'all to take another big step. That's not good enough. We joined the ACC. No problem.
And this might be college football's way of, putting Notre Dame's arm behind its back to say, we're going to try to nudge you and push you into a conference. So I'll let you know what I don't like about this. I don't believe in buys. This is why I don't believe in buys.
Okay.
We've got buys in the NFL.
Yep.
And I believe they work in the NFL for this reason. Everybody plays each other. You cannot, let's say the New England Patriots go 14-2 and earn a bye.
Okay.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they win their division, but they're 11-5. They don't earn a bye. Well, that 14-2 and that 11-5, we are very sure that their schedules were so much alike. That those schedules in the NFL
played some of the same teams. Yes,
they're probably playing in the same conference. They're probably playing 10, 11, 12 of the same teams out of those 16, and the other 4 or 5 are comparable. Right. So you've truly, in an objective system, earned the bye. Okay, here's the issue I've got in college football. You go to any season, start last season, go to 2019, 18, 17, 16, put in this system and try to determine who the teams that get the bye should be, and it's a mess.
Okay. To
try to determine who gets that advantage. Because this is what it does for people that don't think the bye is the big deal. Think of it this way, Wholesome One. It's the Sunday after the conference championship games. And the committee's going to make its selections for the 12 teams. Okay. Let's say Alabama's the 1 seed. And they're undefeated and they get a bye. Or even the 4 seed. Let's say the difference between the 4 seed and the 5 seed. The 4 seed gets the bye. The 5 seed has to play the first round. Let's say that 4 seed's Alabama. And I'm not picking on Alabama. This is just to fill in the story.
Yeah.
Let's say Alabama gets the bye. Let's say they will play the winner of Oklahoma and Oregon. 2 really good teams. Both had 1 loss.
Yeah.
Okay. As you well know, as a coach, as somebody who's played the game, coached the game, and needs to prepare for opponents, let's say that first round game is 2 weeks away. That second round game that Alabama's going to play is 3 weeks away. For the next 2 weeks, what are Oklahoma and Oregon going to do? They can't slough off their opponent and say, well, we need to prepare for Alabama. No, that opponent's too good. They're going to have to be laser focused on and strategizing, and their game plans, all their efforts going to have to be locked in on Oklahoma and Oregon. Okay?
Okay.
While Alabama's going to have 3 weeks to prepare for Oklahoma, split, Oregon. They're going to have 3 weeks to prepare for their offenses, their defenses, and be locked in on those 2 teams. On top of that, obviously, Oklahoma and Oregon are going to have a 50% chance of losing to not even advance, something that the bye team doesn't have to be subjected to. The probability of losing, the 50% chance of losing, number 1. Number 2, you don't get nicked up. Your players don't get beat up and bruised and have to go through a tough opponent. And number 3, you have no chance of losing any players, while, as you know, you could lose a significant player or 2 players or 3. I think that's too much of an advantage, especially in a system where we can't objectively determine who those teams are. Unlike the NFL, where you can objectively determine those teams that earned a bye.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, your real issue is conference scheduling, not necessarily the playoff bye, because one affects the other. So therefore, the original mean is what is your issue. Okay, so why not just find a way to fix the conference schedule? Because that seems to fix your issue. I do not see a problem if you're that seed and you've earned that right. Yes, as someone who has to sit down and evaluate, I have to evaluate both teams. So I have to split the time to focus, just like the other people who are playing. Now, if you look at the on-field disadvantages, okay, while that time you're watching film, I'm out here coaching a game. While you're watching film and going through walkthrough, I also may have just had my left tackle tear his ACL. But my left tackle could tear his ACL week 3. He tears ACL week 6. Okay,
but that already happened. But that already
what I'm saying is
happened,
the
and we
probability
already
is the same exact, Mark.
and we already earned a playoff spot regardless of what happened to our left tackle. But we're having to play. Okay.
You have a direct responsibility to earn that, is what I'm saying. I see where you're coming from. I understand the issue. I'm just saying, from my perspective,
who's to determine who earned it? That's the problem. We're allowing people to decide who earned it. The NFL doesn't assign a committee to decide who earned it. We have too many people deciding things in college football. We need to have processes.
That's done on the football field. The same thing happens in our game in college football.
It's done in a boardroom.
Right, but if I'm out there winning games, then I definitely make sure that you can't take that away from me. If I'm at the University of Missouri and I make it to 11-0, irregardless of how you felt about us week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and I'm at Mizzou, that means I had to beat some big time teams, and I'm 11-0. What your opinion is in that room kind of becomes null and void because of what we did and handled our business on the football field. People who make excuses are the ones who are 1-0 or have 1 or 2 losses or 3 losses and feel like, well, we played a better brand of football. You didn't. You lost the game. You have a direct correlation with the result of what happens. So therefore, you have to deal with you losing freaking football games. Just that simple.
But wholesome one, if we go through every season and seed the teams, there's going to have to be a decision made on the teams that get the buys and the teams that don't get the buys. And I guarantee you, every year there are going to be teams that don't receive the buys that have just as good a qualifications as a team or two that receive buys. Guaranteed.
Okay.
There will be.
I didn't say you were wrong. I respect where you're coming from. I just differ.
I just don't think it's fair.
Mark.
In the NFL, it's fair. In the NFL, it's fair because they're playing the same teams, and therefore the bye is earned. I'm not even crazy about it in the NFL, but at least it's earned objectively. Nobody's selecting them. They don't have a committee saying we're going to give the Patriots and the Chiefs a bye, and these other teams don't get a bye. No, it's an objective system.
Okay. My whole argument is just this simple. You control your destiny when you win or lose football games.
To a large extent, you do.
That's it. Now, is there examples? Is there a way? I mean, crap. I'm a Miami fan who complains about us being in a natty in 99 or 2000 when we lost to Washington. You know, yes, you can argue and say that the Miami Hurricanes were the better team towards the end of the year. We had a direct issue. We lost to Washington. We should not have let that happen, and we lost. We could be angry about it. We can complain. We can flip tables. We could throw MFers. We could whatever we want. We lost the game. It's just that simple. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But hey,
okay.
It's a great argument point. I think what also happens is people don't understand this part too, right? They want you talking about the sport. Okay, so entertainment and drama is a part of TV. People think that sports is a TV show. Okay, there's drama added into it. They want to be, how did you not put Alabama #1? They want you to start First Take talking about college ball. They want you to start FS1 or whatever. They want MarkRogersTV and the voice of college football officially named the voice of college football on his YouTube channel discussing this. Because the more people talk about it, the more these things hear us talking about it, the more they send us stuff on our timelines. Okay, it is about entertainment. So they're going to come out, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they pick 8 just to piss people off. Like I remember when we were debating 6 versus 8, and you were like, 6 doesn't make any sense. You were big on bye weeks back then. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they pick 8 just to piss people off because we think it's 12, or if they pick 6 because people are talking 12, just to get you to hold on for this contract through 2028. And then you want to tune back into college football because they'll go back up. They'll go up to 12 or 16 then. It's about entertainment and ratings views. That's what people.
Sure.
It's that simple.
When I created these channels, I tell you this from time to time because people just think that's the only thing I care about is college football because I've got college football channels. No, I love the NFL. Love the NFL. I've been sitting in front of my laptop night after night this week at my mom's house, and since she's unfortunately been in the hospital, sitting in front of my laptop watching America's Game, which are Super Bowl documentaries on the various Super Bowl teams.
Oh,
amazing. Oh, I could watch those things day
but you
in.
lived a lot of them, if not all of them. No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm not watching anything I don't already know. I just love watching them again,
but it's
again
also
and again
great
and again.
to see the backstory about it. Like I remember watching the Ravens one from 2000. Now, mind you, I was 4 years old, so I didn't know what was going on at that time. But my birthday was also the day that Ray Lewis got drafted to the Ravens, so that connection goes back then with me and Ray. But I didn't know that they were in a car accident on the way to the Super Bowl that same day. We would have never known if you weren't related to the players or had to sit down and talk to them. But he talked about that. Like, yeah, we got an accident on the way there, and we knew we better win because we got some bad cars. We just ran over with a bus, So, funny stories like that are from America's Game. I really enjoy sitting down and watching those. Because like I told you before, that's what got me into the game was NFL Network. Not ESPN, it was NFL Network that got me in the football and then drifted into college a little more than pros. But my love for the NFL draft, but I'm a big NFL Network guy.
The reason I brought that up is because you were making the point that the controversy creates clicks and attention and all that. And for as much as I love the NFL, one of the basic reasons why I chose college football over the NFL to do these channels was because of the controversy over debating about the playoff, the BCS championship game at the time, and the playoff, where in the NFL, there's no debate.
Right.
You win the games, the standings tell you exactly who's going to the playoffs. There's nothing to debate. And I thought, well, there's always a great debate in college football.
yeah, I bet. I mean, there always is. The NFL it's kind of apparent some of the storylines they have. I mean, Ray Lewis's last dance. A lot of people talk about how fluky and weird that stuff was. That he comes out and says he's retiring, and this very subpar team flows off into being a Super Bowl team. Or you look at how trash and putrid and pathetic Peyton Manning was his last year as a Denver Bronco, but they go on and win the Super Bowl. It's about that they are telling a story, and it's just like a Netflix series. It's just other people's physical pain is on the line.
Also, one Ronan, he actually read between the lines, and he actually interpreted your comment to me about seeing all the Super Bowls. What you were really saying was, hey, Mark, what were the dinosaurs really like?
Mark, you were born in 55?
What am I?
Well, you were born in 55?
Born in 55?
Yeah.
That would make me, what would that make me? If I was born in 55, 45, let's do the math. 66.
64? You were born in 64? Somewhere, right?
Man, I'm looking rough. I know I didn't get much sleep this week, but seriously.
It's okay. I got it coming to me, man. I've been calling people old for so long. I got it on the way.
It'll catch up to you.
Yeah, it does. It does.
All right, man.
It's a great conversation. Thank you for having me on always. I was a little late, but we made up for it with the time here. So, Mark, thank you so much for the weekly opportunity to be here.
Thank
talk
you.
About University of Miami, and I appreciate the Canes for being here, even some of the haters. And okay, first of all, Max, I was not born in '99. I was born in '96. Okay, I'm not that much of a baby. Anyhow, even the Tallahassee fans, they were respectful, and they weren't disrespectful. I've seen some of them. I've been to some of these Ohio State lives, and it is sick. Some of the stuff people say to those guys. So, like somehow your diet is the reason why you can't talk about wide receivers. It's weird, man. Like,
Yeah.
you're a bigger dude, you don't know what makes a good defensive back or a linebacker. But
Yeah.
hey, they have a great way of going through it and pushing through it and still giving really good content. So I do the same. And I truly appreciate you, Mark, and appreciate the views. You all know, drop the hashtag Live Squad if you're here. And also go ahead and drop the hashtag Rewatch Squad in the comment section. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a blessed day. As always, go Canes.
See you, wholesome one. Everybody.